Now, I wasn't around when the Knights of Blood came out, so the only real relic of the past can look at to go see how the community's reaction to the Blood Knights. The only place I can really find that is AmoP Everyday's channel and some of his older videos where he was talking about Juno releasing and really just all the Blood Knights being released. And I kind of saw just from that all the hype from the community and how insane these guys were at the time that they were coming out. So yeah, it's kind of crazy because back then, I mean, a lot of these Blood Knights, I mean, Vox, Juno, even Berwick, and also Thetis, they were really just crazy units. And honestly, all the Blood Knights, except maybe Duke and Leon, they were just crazy, even if you go back to like a year ago. But looking at all these Blood Knights, and not too deeply, just enough to give me a rough idea of what most of them do, I've found that they are, I don't have a nicer way to put it, but they are falling off. L+ ratio, bozo, whatever. They're falling off. Really, right now, at the current moment, the only units from the Knights of Blood that are really viable today, by today's standards, are Juno, Thetis, and Vox. The other units, some of them aren't bad, some of them are a lot worse than others, but truth be told, they're quickly dying. When was the last time you saw someone use Berwick or Riviera? So the Blood Knights, they are dying. There's not a huge reason to use them anymore. We have units like the Emperor. We have, Thetis, he's always going to be one of the best tanks in the game, no doubt. So he's very good. Vox, he's a good attacker. His art is a pseudo heal. He has some decent slots. He also gives crit rate and does damage. But the problem with someone like Vox is, although he's kind of like a jack of all trades, his damage it's falling off. When you just go to look at other units nowadays in JP, like the Emperor, I always have to mention the Emperor, or even a new crossover like the Blackrock Shooter, crossover units from that are crazy. They do a lot of damage. Or even Tokyo Revengers. They all at least have a true art modifier, most of them at least, a true art modifier that is equal or above Vox's true art. So seeing that, you can clearly see that the Blood Knights, they are becoming irrelevant. They are being outclassed. And, that's not to say that they're useless. If you get Vox, he's going to be a good attacker. He will always be my number one attacker from day one. And Thetis, he'll always, like I said, be a very good tank. And he's really irreplaceable unless, a Gerald gets buffed, then Thetis is going to have some real competition. Alright, once Gerald gets his shoe weapon, Gerald's completely outclassing Thetis, 100%, no doubt. But with units like the Emperor coming along, where just as much Archgen as Juno, it's crazy. And the craziest thing about it is that, the Emperor, he isn't going to have a demonic true eclipse or a Magia drive that he needs to get into. No, you could just throw him on your team and use him as an Archgener that also does a lot of damage. I'm not too sure how much, what Emperor's true art modifier, how much that is. But either way, the Emperor is just going to outclass Juno simply because he doesn't have to enter any type of mode or anything like that. And going back to some of the lesser used Blood Knights, Leon, Duke, and maybe Riviera. I don't really know how often Riviera was used back in the day. And Rosetta, they don't really add too much to your team, at least I don't think. I mean, maybe Rosetta, she's an Archgener, so she's always going to be okay. But all these Blood Knights that I just said, they all have at most a 40,000% true art modifier. So in today's day and age in GS, I'm starting to feel like units aren't really the best because of what they do. I mean, I guess it's because they're the best of what they do, but what I'm trying to say is damage is really all that matters now. Like Berwick, he's a very good sub-attacker. He has Archgen, he buffs the team's damage, and overall he's a decent unit. The only problem is that he only does 35,000 true art damage or something like that, and like I said, very, very bad for today. With Tokyo Revengers, we saw sub-attackers like Mitsuya doing 40k or maybe was it 50k? And a lot of units that are coming out, at least, if you look at Charlotte, she's doing 50,000 and buffing the team, and she isn't really a big focus for like an attacker. She's obviously someone who's gonna buff the team, so she isn't really labeled as an attacker, and she still has a lot of damage in her kit because of just how beefed up her True Arts is. So it's just really crazy to see and very clear to see that the Blood Knights are being outclassed by new units that are being released. I mean, Thick Boy Thetis, I don't really think he's ever gonna fall off unless we get another game-breaking tank, and I really need Thick Boy Thetis. I still haven't gotten him yet. But right now, there are only 3 units that are really decent in today. I'm not saying that the other Blood Knights are complete trash. They're still usable, still a little bit valuable, but now that every new unit that's coming out has at least like a 40k damage modifier and also does some crazy stuff and doesn't have to get into a Revelation form or Magia Drive or something, the Blood Knights are slowly being swept under the rug, like very, very slowly. But the 3 Blood Knights that are kind of still valuable today, Thetis, always. And I mean, you could argue that Duke is still good. I mean, it's always okay to have a decent breaker, but I mean, you're never really gonna need a breaker all that much. But yeah, so Thetis, very good tank. Vox, a good attacker, and I mean, he's a jack of all trades. He could do so much for your team, and that's really what makes him so good. And Juno, because of her Arshin, obviously. She's crazy. But that's another thing. Like, I feel like back, even a year ago, Juno was looked at as one of the best Arshinner, and right now she still is one of the best Arshinners in the game. But it's crazy to see that something that was like written in the stars, or I feel like everyone thought Juno was gonna be the be-all end-all for Arshin. But no, we have the Emperor coming out who is crazy. He does damage, he has all 5-star slots, and he's just overall a good Arshinner, a good unit, a good attacker. So I keep saying that the Blood Knights, they're falling off and slowly, ever so slowly, being replaced by newer units that just outclass the old ones. What does this mean for the future of the Blood Knights and really just for the future of GS? I mean, we have seen new iterations of the Blood Knights with, or like Blood Knights 2.0 with Swordman Berwick. I can't think of any others. I think Swick is really the only 2.0 Blood Knight or something. But we have seen Summer Juno, Summer Leon. They are very good, very good for what they do, but kind of niche. I mean, Summer Juno is just a good attacker, magical damage dealer and stuff. And also, I don't really know what they're called. I guess I'll call them the Nightmare Blood Knights, Nightmare Riviera and Nightmare Thetis. I don't really know what else we call them. They just give off that vibe of being like nightmarish and evil and stuff. They do a lot of damage. I think Thetis does 100k over in JP or something. This is super big damage. But the thing is that Nightmare Thetis, Nightmare Riviera, although they're kind of new units, they have the problem with being very slow. You have to get like a whole bunch of arts, like 400, no, not 400 Arshin, just a lot of Arshin just to get these guys running. So the Blood Knights era is coming to a close, unless, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe a day after this is released, after this video is released, there'll be an announcement with like 3.0 Blood Knights or something crazy. And though you also have Earth, Rosetta, I have no idea what she does, so I don't really have an opinion on her, but she's also a new Blood Knight that kind of came out a few months ago. I don't really know when it happened, but I think we all kind of see that slowly over time the Blood Knights just started to become the old units of GS, the older, worse version of new units coming out now. Whether it's because they're too slow, they have to get in Magia Drive or Demonic Chew Eclipse, or that their damage is just falling off completely and won't make a difference in some of the content we take on now. So with that long rant about why the Blood Knights aren't as good as they used to be, I do think the KOB saga is finally officially coming to a close in terms of just, the new characters being released or new KOB units being released. Like I said, Vox, he will always be a good attacker. At least I hope so. Please, Grandpa Vox, stay alive for future generations. And Thetis, he will always be Thick Boy Thetis, a very good tank. Juno, she will always have a lot of Arshin, but the rest of the KOBs, they might just be forgotten in time forever. The demon meta is finally coming to a close. I mean, I feel like over the past few months we have seen the rise of the human meta and stuff with the obviously Emperor, but with crossovers and yeah, just people doing, or new characters doing a lot of damage and just being insane. So yeah, the end of the Blood Knights, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like anyone could really just figure this out, or everyone really knows about this. I just wanted to make a video over it and talk about it, because I've always seen the Blood Knights as the be-all end-all for units you need to have, and now it's looking like you really don't need any of them besides Thetis mainly. Yeah, all you really need is Thetis. So with that, the Blood Knights have fallen off O+ ratio, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and peace.